very good evening, guys. Today we have a very special guest with us. I mean, we all know her because we have seen her everywhere. Let it be Betal, Tikli and Lakshmi Bomb, Dil Chata Hai, Laga Chunri Mein Daag, Kehne Ko To Hum Safar Hai, and lot more because I can just go on and on. And of course, she's a vibrant personality and she has won awards in Long Island International Film Festival and Milan International Filmmaker Festival in 2017. She's one of the most versatile actress and she's none other than very own Suchitra Pillai, ma'am. So welcome on board, ma'am.
Hi to everyone. I would like to answer as many questions as I can at the end of the chat. But whoever's here, thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your time with me.
So yes, thank you for being on board, ma'am. So let's start our session. So my first question to you is, ma'am, you have done your education in electronic engineering. Then how did this media and entertainment happen to you?
Completely by fluke, I have to say. There was no planning
Okay.
at all. When I was in my engineering, actually, I could have started then itself because I
Okay.
was offered Jojita Bahi Sikandar. I was offered
Oh,
Aisha Julka's role at that point, but I didn't. It was first year engineering, and they had said that I would need 6 months off from college, so I didn't do it. My life would have been even more different than it is now. But
okay.
after in my final year of engineering, I got married, and then my first marriage to England, and was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I didn't want to work as an engineer because it would have meant 2 years more of studies after 4 years. So
Okay.
decided that let's do this, that, and the other. I was working in a restaurant there with many famous people. Used to come. So I saw that side of it. I did bits and pieces. I was with a session singing company, which is how I got to sing with some international artists,
Sure.
and with a model agency as well over there. And they are the ones who sent me the casting of the French film, the first one I did in
Yes.
1993.
Yes.
And I had no training whatsoever, no training at all. And I went for this audition, and it's quite amusing because I went for the audition, and there were a lot of girls who were all trained actors who were there before me, and we were given 10 minutes to memorize, well, to read 2 scenes. We were supposed to do a reading. And I remember the casting director, the girl who went in before me, I remember her telling her that you gave us 10 minutes and we can't really get into the character in 10 minutes, and also we'll just read the
You.
scenes and we'll go.
Yeah.
I went there, and then the first thing she did was ask, how long have you been acting? And I said, this is my first audition. So she said, okay, fine, let's try this. Sit down and let's do the reading. I said, no, I don't want to
Okay.
read. I don't want to sit down. I'll act out the scene for you. You just be the other person. Then she said,
Okay.
okay, fine, use your papers. You can use the script. I said, no, I won't use the script. I've memorized what I could, and I'll just make up the rest. And I did the
Oh.
scenes, which were both very, very emotional, very intense scenes. It was a very rather emotional movie. And I had to end up crying at the end of it. And at the end of that audition, I was crying, and I was at her feet, and I was really crying, and she was just shocked. And she picked me up and she made me sit next to her, and she said, now you tell me the truth. How many years have you been acting? And I said, no, seriously, this is my first audition. So she said,
Okay.
Suchitra, this is what you need to be doing. And that was my introduction into acting, frankly.
Okay. And then that's how your career started. I remember, I guess you were
Yeah,
shooting in Sri Lanka for the first French film, if I'm not wrong.
that's right. Yes. I was shooting Sri Lanka for this film, and it had to do with the dowry system in India. So it was a rather controversial type of a movie, but which is why we couldn't shoot in India. But we
Okay.
shot there, and it turned out really good. And then I went back to England, and then I, did a lot of theater. I did a lot of radio drama. I did one or two other films. There was another English film I did called Guru in Seven, and
Yes.
bits and pieces all over. And then I sang with a few artists there as well. And I came back in 1997 when I separated from my ex-husband. And then everything just started, catapulting into all the various things that I've done, which is how I've been part of all medium, whether it's television, film, theater. I started out with theater here when I came back with Dance Like a Man, the play, which I'm
Yeah.
still doing 23 years
Yes.
later.
Yeah.
And we've done 650 shows across the world, over 6.
Yes.
So that, and then Channel V happened, and then um, the TV serials like Margarita, Hippe Pure, Rahe, Papa, that time the old time TV serials, those happened, and then Dil Chata Hai, and then a
Yeah.
lot of the other films started. So it was not Mine was really not planned. It's never as if I said I want to be an actor. I loved acting because in school I would always take part in dramatics and
Okay.
elocution and debates and that. So there was never any stage fright. But formal training, no. I've just gone with the flow and it's worked for me.
Okay. So basically, trust the process
Yeah.
and it does wonders to you.
Absolutely. And also, not only that, if you have true belief that this is what you're made to do, this is what you're meant to do, there's no stopping you. You have to just believe in yourself and you have to just go for it. There's no other way
True.
to deal with something like this, especially the world of showbiz. As far as I know, that's the way to
Yeah.
go with it.
True. So, ma'am, as you're a multimedia platform, I mean, you are in films, you're in theaters, you're on television, you are on OTT platforms. Like, you name it, and you are everywhere. You are all over the place. Every media portal. So, can you share your insights on how this industry has changed over the years, and how you advise this industry in next 5 years from now?
Right. So it is extremely different from what it used to be before. And even when I came back to India and started off over here, straight away I was thrown into all mediums because
Oh,
I
okay.
started off with Dance Like a Man, which was theater.
Yeah.
I got TV serials like Hip Hip Hure, Rahe, Papa, Margarita. Those. So I was doing television. I got movies like Bas Itna Sa Khwab Hai and Dil Chahta. I did that.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of I did some singing as well, but which didn't get released. I was working on an album already, so there was that.
Okay.
There was that platform. I was already comparing events, and I was on TV as a VJ. So I've seen the whole. I mean, I've been more than 25 years in the industry, so I've actually seen how it's all changed. And that time, I must say, it's changed for the better, no doubt. Yeah, there are more pros than cons
True.
now. In the modern day way of how we work, because the people, they're more professional now. That's the first big thing that jumps out at you.
Yeah.
Things are now written and they're kind of written in stone. Whether it's a contract or
True.
whether it's what you're doing, or you now sometimes get scripts, full bound before you do a project, whether it's a film or a series, which never was the
Yeah.
case then. You just get a storyline before you sign the project, and then you'd go to the set and find out what you were shooting. You know, but
Yeah.
and yeah, streamlining of time, that's one big thing that that really shouts out at me. If I had to compare that time to now, a lot of time was wasted at that point, then.
Okay.
Whereas here people now work with call sheets. It's exactly how much time you needed on a set, and
True.
people work with that now, which has brought in a lot of professionalism into. So that's one major thing. Competition has increased. That's, of course,
True.
without a doubt, huge competition. And even then, at that time, theater and all, not many people were doing theater, at that point. So it was a smaller lot of people. Things like Channel V, as far as television is concerned,
Yeah.
it was a core group that was chosen to be VJs. It was the job to have.
Yes.
Frankly, it was, and I just got that job by out there and getting it. I went and met the general manager of Channel V at a party, and he was chatting with me, and I'd just come back from England, and he said, "Oh, I'm the GM of Channel V. I don't know if you've seen the channel, etc." And maybe you should
Yeah.
take a look at the channel. I said, "Oh no, I have seen the channel. I've just come back from England, but frankly, it's your loss that I'm not on your channel." That's exactly what I told him. So he said, what are you saying? So I said, yeah, it's your loss that
Yeah.
I'm not on it. So he said, okay, fine. You put your money where your mouth is, I'll give you an audition. And I did an audition, and 2 weeks later, they called me from Hong Kong and they said, fine, we're creating a show for you, which
Okay.
was Simply South. And that's how Channel V happened. So, yeah, so the changes have been vast. The changes have been many. And time was one of the big things. They would take a long time to shoot things. Now you have a full schedule, whether you're shooting for a film or whether you're shooting for television. You know when you're starting, you know when you're ending.
True.
You can't really screw about with that. Uh, so that's one thing that is a big advantage now compared to what it used to be before. And yeah, competition wise, but it's good. Yeah, competition is good. It's healthy. It
Yeah.
keeps you on your toes, and that's my
True.
mantra, at least. So yeah, as long as you know your need, you know what you want. Yeah, and people ask me a lot of times, Harsh, they
Yeah.
keep asking me whether, so you do so many things. It's like what I said, I've been on all platforms and all mediums or whatever. You do so many things. Why are you doing so many things? And I say, why not so many things? If you have a
Amazing.
God-given talent and you have been chosen to be one to get the opportunities, why not? Why not? And give it the best shot. That's all. Whatever. I mean, for all of you who are watching, whatever line of work you are, whether if you're mass communications, whatever it is, whether you want to be journalist, whether you want to be in front of the camera, behind the camera, whatever it is, just know that what you want in your core is what matters. Okay, do not, there'll be enough and more people to turn around and say, nahi yaar, it's not worth it, nahi yaar, don't do that here, what are you saying, there are so many people in the business. There may be so many people in the business, but as long as you create your niche, you have nothing to worry about. That's what I say. You just have to know that you're good at your craft, stick at it, and be professional about it, and that's more than half your battle won.
True. So, ma'am, any specific major changes in this industry do you see in next 5 years, in coming 5 years?
In the coming 5 years, well, I know that a lot is going to be digital, thanks to wonderful COVID-19. God knows what's going to happen in the next 5 years. But it's definitely going to be, people are going the digital way, and even even the film industry has realized that that is the way to go, so I'm sure we're going to be seeing a lot more movies which are going to be released on digital platforms rather than
True.
theaters, even when theaters open, because they're seeing that they're getting enough and more that you're getting enough and more viewership. Everyone has a phone, including, whether it's a rickshaw driver, a store, someone who owns a store, whether it's a person sitting at home or grandmother, everyone has a phone now. So you have a hell of a lot of, you have a bigger audience than you used to have before. So OTT platforms are the way to go, and everyone's waking up to that. So people are now writing things specifically only for
For
OTT
OTT, yeah.
platforms, rather than saying, नहीं नहीं मैं film लिख रहा हूँ यार, मैं नहीं नहीं मुझे बड़ा बड़ा बनाना है. So nobody's thinking in that way anymore. So in the next 5 years, I see a lot more work. Yeah, definitely a lot more work, because when we're talking digital, everything is concise. You know that you're shooting from this time to this time, so you can plan other things, not only the actors but everybody in the industry. You can plan things, that this will be over, this much post production will happen, after that it's on air, so we can already start something else, that kind of thing. So those are the changes that I
True.
see, that are definitely going to be very, very visible. So I think we'll all, a lot of us will be working a lot more, and that means a lot of more jobs as well for people coming out of MET. There's going to be a lot of more interesting jobs there.
Yes, for sure, ma'am. So, ma'am, as an artist, which is your preferred medium? Any specific you would want to share?
I prefer, well, as an artist, theater is the biggest buzz. Frankly speaking, for any actor,
True.
theater is the one that shows you, what you're worth. Whether you're worth your salt, as they say.
Yes.
It is what you're right there in front of your audience. You don't have to wait for a critic's review. Don't have to wait for anything else. Either they'll clap or they'll boo you off the stage, and that's when you know whether you're good at your craft or not. You're given one shot at it, so you better be good at it. It's there's no retakes and stuff like that, and so that's what still gives me the butterflies in the stomach kind of feeling. That's what gives me that still. And for any artist, that's one big thing, to still have that bit of nervousness, even though I've done over 650 shows of this play,
Yeah.
to still have that little bit of nervousness in your stomach, it means you're still in it. It means that you're still into your craft and that you're still doing something that you love. So theater would be my favorite, but sadly it doesn't pay as much as we would like to.
True.
so so you can't really depend on theater for your bread and butter, which is why there are other mediums. But I love, of course, who doesn't like to watch and see themselves on the big screen? 70 mm. When I did my two Hollywood films, and I went to LA, and they had a screening in Fox, 20th Century Fox,
Oh.
of my film, and I was like, wow, man, when did this happen? A girl from Bandra, and suddenly here I'm sitting in LA in Hollywood, and I'm watching my film on screen at Fox Studios. Um, so it's yeah, it's been an interesting journey, but I love all of it. But I think I'm most alive when I'm on stage, be it in theater or
Hmm.
be it in my singing. I,
Okay.
I kind of transform, I would say.
So, ma'am, do you think that, theater has been, like played a catalyst for you in your journey, especially?
Oh my God, most definitely. Most definitely. Anyone in the acting industry will tell you, Harsh, that, uh, uh, when somebody takes you for a project saying that, हाँ, ये तो theater artist है, there is
Hmm.
another level of respect that you are given. Why? Because they know how tough it is for any
True.
actor. You have to give commitment, you have to give your time, you have to give your blood, sweat, and tears, as they say, to when you're doing a play or you're doing a musical. And you have to really, really be in it, because if you don't put that in, it's not the product is not going to be great. So I would definitely say theater has been a huge catalyst, and not only in me doing my films and things like that, or TV serials, but also as far as my dubbings are concerned. I'm a voice artist. I do a lot of
Yeah.
dubbings as well, so that has been a huge, because in theater you learn voice modulation, and I've learned on the job. I've never been to theater school or in drama school or anything like that, but I've learned on the job, and I've had a great teacher in Lilette Dubey, who I've been with her company for years, and the other directors that I've had the been fortunate enough to work with. So I've learned on the job, and you learn little by little, what all other things that are going to make you click later on in life.
Okay. So, ma'am, we all know that you are a very versatile artist. I mean, it goes without any question. But then, ma'am, you are also a VJ, singer, theater artist, as you mentioned, and dubbing artist, voiceover artist. So, how do you manage it all so beautifully?
It lots of the battle is won when you love your job, and you love every ounce and every moment of it. You make the time for it. You actually it's not tough when you really want to do it, and it's coming from the heart, and it's not for the sake of only the money or the fame or the fortune. You make the time for it. So time management is a huge big factor for me. I mean, I have to say, I have a huge big thank you to tell my husband, because he's been a real tough support for me, throughout the times, even when after I had a baby. So you need to have that some backbone, to help you, because it's an insecure business. Come what may, I may be doing so many things, but the reason for that is because it's an insecure business. You
Yes.
never know. You know when something is going to end, like this, like this COVID thing, that happened.
Yeah.
You suddenly, nothing is there to do.
Yeah.
And luckily for me, because of the singing, I would do my singing stuff on Insta lives, and at least something to keep you going. Or there were
Yes.
dubbings that you can do at home. you know so yes, that's why being multifaceted, as they call it, is definitely, it works in my favor. But yes, time management is a huge big factor in it, and it's great if you have family support, and if you have the right advice from people, if you
True.
have the right avenues to, or the right people to speak to, depending on what it is that you're planning to do. Then you're really, then it's smooth sailing, frankly.
Okay. So, ma'am, how did dubbing and singing, like, totally happen to you? And when you were so pretty sure that, you want to do dubbing, like, yeah, I want to do this. This is something exciting.
Yeah, I think the first thing I was called for, I think, was animated film. I think it was Bolt, or it was Wally. I was to play the computer voice in Wally, and I played that
Oh,
cute manager in Bolt, the animated films. So I started off with animated films, which is a good base when it comes
yeah,
to
yeah,
voice, because there is you're not trying to match, not so much trying to match the face of the person, when
true.
or whatever. It's a cartoon, so you try and work it that way. But yeah, I just got a call because somebody who knew me from my childhood, actually, they knew that I'd come back, and they said, Suchitra, would you like to test your voice for this? And I think, to my advantage, so they say, at least, that I have a very distinctive voice, and it's a very bass voice, and it suits a lot of actresses. And I think the first actress I dubbed for was Angelina Jolie for Beowulf, the film
Oh,
Beowulf.
okay.
So, but then after that, I mean, if you get heard by somebody, then they know that if you're looking for a deep voice, um, you know, Suchi is there to do it. So that's how it's worked for me. And singing, I've been a singer since I was young, since 6, 7. I've been singing, at competitions, etc. But I trained in Carnatic vocals for a few
Oh,
years in my teenage years. And when I was in England, I got the opportunity to work with a few artists like Talvin Singh. I sang on his album. I sang with the group called Kula Shaker. There was a track called Govinda.
yeah,
Govinda Jaya Jaya Gopal Jaya Jaya, that one.
yeah.
So I was the female voice on that track. And I sang on 2 albums by an Algerian artist from France called Rashid Taha.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's when I kind of knew that even recorded voice, I really wanted to do more of it. Came back here, and around 2011 or so, I did my first album, which was an indie pop album, and it was
Yeah.
released on Artist Aloud. It was called Such Is Life or Suchi's
Yes.
Life, whichever way you read it. And
Yeah.
so that was released online. And now my second album is ready, which is a English rock album,
Okay.
very 90s melodious kind of rock. It's a lovely album. I'm looking forward to releasing it. I just need to do a couple of more videos. That's all that's left to do before we release. It'll be on the online platforms, like how you have Google Play and
Yeah.
Apple Music, etc. It'll be on
Yes.
all of those, Spotify. So, but soon enough, once all this
Super
chaos
excited
ends.
for it. Yes. So, ma'am,
Thank you.
as you rightly said, that this industry is very uncertain. Okay. So, what are the biggest learnings that you have learned from this industry?
To keep at it, I think one of the biggest, because it's very insecure, and there are months on end where you're just sitting at home. I have to say that despite being in the industry for over 25 years, um, ego is one of your biggest downfalls. So you have to leave that at home. In spite of
True.
having a body of work behind me, when there are months on end where there is no work at all, nothing happening, I still pick up the phone and I call casting directors, and I call. You have to go out there and get the work. You can't just sit there saying, "Ha ha, मैंने थोड़ा सा नाम कमा लिया है. People are going to come to
Hmm.
me." If you love your job, you should do everything to make it happen for you, even when times are rough. So you've got
Yes.
to, you have humility, and keep ego far away is one of the biggest things that I would advise anybody wanting to go into this line, into showbiz per se. Even whether it's journalists, whether it's people who are writing, whatever it is. Um, uh, you can't think that you are higher than the next person. It doesn't work that way, because that is the biggest
True.
downfall. You will see actually throughout history of Bollywood, etc., for all of the actors and actresses who have really come and been so-called one-film wonders. It's mainly
Yes.
because they suddenly start thinking no end of themselves. As soon as a success happens, and they think that is the be all and end all, but that isn't. I hate being called a star. When people say I'm the star, or I'm like, no, never. I will never be a star. I'm happy where I am. I'm an actor, I'm an artist, and I
True.
love what I do. And that, I think, that shows, in whatever line I work in. I think because I from my core of my heart, I love what I do. I love going to work. I love going to the dubbing studio. I love going to the shoots. It's not a chore for me. It's not as if I say, "Arey yaar," I sometimes on 2 3 hours of sleep, I'll still get up and go for my shoot, and I'll still be happy. You know,
Yes.
because it's your other side. It's the other side to you. So it's if you have a family life, etc. This is yours. To go out there and do what really makes you what you are, and that's important. I think that's really important. But you need to value it. You need to really value it for what it is. You need to value the opportunities that have been given to you, because there are millions out there who would die to be in your shoes. I mean, each and every one of you watching, there are so many kids out there who would want that seat. Let's put it
True.
that way. There are so many people out there who would turn around and say, "Damn, yaar, I wish I was an MEG." Uh,
Yeah.
because so you have to count your every single day. You have to count your blessings, and even when times are bad. I mean, I have to say, I have not worked for 5 months now, and it's really gotten to me, because as an acting wise, it's really gotten to me, because I'm a hyper person. I need to be out there. I need to be meeting people. I need to be doing my actings, and there's not been any theater happening. There's no, I've done a few dubbings, but that's it. And the social interaction with people. So that's an important part of this whole world of showbiz. Not to think that you can put yourself up on a pedestal and pretend like you are higher than the next person. that doesn't work. That really doesn't work in any field for that matter. I mean, yes, if there is a standing, yeah, I'm not saying Amitabh Bachchan should walk on the street and backslap people. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to be approachable, to be somebody who appreciates, who appreciates how they've got to where they are. That's what makes it all worthwhile, frankly.
True.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, talking about all your recent OTT platform releases like Let It Be Betal, Kehne Ko To Hum Safar Hai, or Tikli and Lakshmi Bomb, okay, with Aditya sir. So, all your roles are so different, and you're such a versatile actress. So, how do you choose on your scripts? Like, do you see the writer? Do you see the script? Or do you see the director? Like, what do you look at it? I mean, what is the first thing? How do you look at your script? So,
I,
yeah.
I have been very lucky that whatever I've been approached for, I have done, frankly. There are very few things I would have to say that I have said no to, because I think people now know the criteria that they can approach me for.
True.
They know. I mean, I have to. There are certain standards that you set. It may be way back when you start your career, or it can come in the course of your career. But you stick with those standards. I mean, I don't have any qualms in admitting there have been people who call and say, "Oh, romantic film hai, madam. Romantic, older woman, younger boy." Then you know straight away what it is. You know what
Yeah.
kind of movie it is going to be. And I say, no, that's not up my alley, and I'm not into that. नहीं नहीं, बहुत ही aesthetically shoot होगा, this that. No, I say no. So as long as you have your boundaries, you know what you want, and what's the kind of stuff that you want to do, and that's worked for me. And despite people saying most of the time, a lot of the time, I have to admit it, I mean, I have been cast in so-called negative roles, as far as TV, especially TV serials and all are concerned.
Yeah.
The bad aunt or the bad sass, or all of that. But it's up to the actor to add layers. Yeah, you're
True.
lucky if you get a writer who has written that for you, and there are layers to the character. But if there aren't, then it's the artist's job. It's the artist's job to kind of make it interesting for people. I have to say, my most amount of fans happened thanks to Beintiha on Colors TV. Um,
Yeah.
because after 14 I was coming back to television in a serial. I'd done a serial with Balaji called Koi Dil Mein Hai, and after that 14 years I didn't do any serials. I was
Yes.
doing all this Channel V and Ye Wo, all the rest.
Hmm.
And then when this happened, it's gotten me my biggest fan base, thanks to Beintiha. But saying which, I was playing a negative character. I was playing the bad mother-in-law in it. But the number of people who loved to hate Suraya Abdullah,
Yeah.
then you know that you've done something right. Yeah,
Yes.
because she's the villain of the piece, she's the bad person of the piece. But when there's people writing to you saying, but we love her, then you know that they have either the writing has, or me as an artist have managed to show some layers to that character, rather than just making eyes and say, "Arey, मैं तेरा खून पी जाऊंगी." I'm not, it's not. That's not. That kind of mother-in-law I don't ever want to be. So yeah, it's great. It's great to be able to kind of just mix things around, add little bits and pieces. Madhur Bhandarkar, very funny.
Yes.
I kept asking him, "Arey yaar, Madhur, you worked with me in fashion in page 3.
Yes.
लेकिन सब में आप मुझे बिच्ची रोल्स देते हो यार." Said to me, सर क्या है ना सुची, तू वैसे दिखती नहीं है, तो जब रोल थोड़ा ऐसा होता है ना, तो थोड़ा सा ट्विस्ट हो जाता है. So I couldn't argue with that. I said, चलो ठीक है,
True.
काम है, कर लूंगी.
Yes. Okay. So, ma'am, before we move on to
Yeah.
audience questions, any piece of advice that you want to give to all our young media aspirants here?
See, I think I mean y'all are in a lucky position, because y'all are with MET, who has the right, they have the right contacts, and they have the right people coming to teach y'all and train y'all. So y'all will be getting the right advice. But do your homework. When you're coming out of school, don't just sit there saying, "Ha, mujhe ye degree mil gaya hai, I have this certificate in my hand." Because that doesn't, I mean, I've got an engineering college certificate in my hand. Where is that counting now? You understand?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
what you have to show from within you is there. That arg, as they call it, that fire
Yes.
to want to do something different from what everybody has. And there is. People say, "Yeah, yaar, naya, different. It'll be the same thing again and again." It
Hmm.
won't. It won't. There are a million things that people have not even touched. They've not even touched on those points. And you could be the one creating that change in whatever line of work you choose to do. um, so you've got to, so don't just say, हाँ मैंने कर लिया है, mass communications कर लिया है, BMM कर लिया है, whatever, हो गया,
Hmm.
अभी देखते हैं. No, you have to go out there, and as I said, you pick up the phone, you make those phone calls. There will be, I still do, and I have no, there's no guilt in admitting that I do. I pick up the phone, I call all casting directors, and I say, listen, I'm sitting Vela, I'm free. Yeah, if there's anything happening? And sure enough, work comes that way, So,
True.
and don't irritate people. Don't go to that extent, but
Yeah.
you just but make sure that you do your homework after you've got your degree, you've reached whatever point you want to reach, and then from there to take it further, talk to people, go and watch different things, see what people abroad are doing in your field, what are they doing, what can you do to bring something like that here, what can you create which nobody has ever done before, however little. You never know what, I mean, all of these YouTube stars, think about it, they're doing nothing,
Yes.
and they've got millions and millions of followers, and but that's because they just had that one idea in their head, and they're multimillionaires now, so if it's
Yes.
money you're after, then then don't allow that to cloud your judgment, is what I say. Money, yes, hai yaar, aa jayega, your work will be appreciated whenever it happens, it will be appreciated, but till that stage, be ready to work for less money. I still do. I'm not I'm admitting to you all, I still do a play at Prithvi Theatre for 1,500 rupees after 25 years in the business. Yeah,
Wow.
there are some plays I do for 1,500. I will still do a show in Prithvi, go for a rehearsal, and still do, if it's Prithvi Theatre, because they, it's
Yes.
a small theatre, they pay less, etc. I have to admit, when I do shows abroad and I do, then you get a great amount, so it balances out. Yeah, but
True.
do things for the love of what you're there for, the love of it. Do things to build up your body of work. That's why when I was in England, I did so much of theatre. I did children's theatre. I did radio drama. Things which people may not remember now, but which has stood me in
Hmm.
good stead so well for later on. When I
True.
go to dubbing studio now and I'm doing something and I say, wow, I remember when I was recording Ramayan, the radio drama with Shashi Kapoor and all in England.
Yes.
Oh, I remember doing this because it was a live sequence, and something comes back to you. Things come back to you. So always keep whatever you do, keep it in the back of your head. Have no regrets at all. Never ever have any regrets. Some things work, some things don't. That's the way life is, frankly speaking. It's disappointing. I've had huge disappointments. People may look at people like me and say, "Arey, yaar, she has no problem. She's always working or whatever." But it's always grass is always greener on the other side. People say that. So counting our blessings, I know it's easier said than done, but every day to wake up and sleep with gratitude for what you have. Yeah, and each and every one of you, even if you've not started your careers yet, just
Yes.
think, start with that, saying thank you to the universe that you were the chosen one to be in college, get the right backing, to get the right vocation, to get the right advice, and that's going to be so much better than any other student who's in some era gera college compared to you understand. So every
Yes.
little thing is a blessing, and you really take it for that.
Hmm.
That is one
Hmm.
big advice that I'd like to tell everybody. And you have one life, yeah. Give everything a chance. Don't allow anybody to put you down. Don't allow anybody to say, "Arey nahi yaar, why are you doing this?" Just turn around and tell them, "Why not? तू नहीं कर रहा है ना, मैं कर लूंगी." So that's what you need to say.
True. No, I'm like, whenever I talk to you, I feel super charged up. I'm like, oh my God, it's like a counseling to me. And I'm not, sugarcoating, but it's really whenever I talk to you, I feel like, oh my God,
Uh,
this is like an energizer what I needed.
Maybe that is my vocation for later on. I'll be Mate Suchi.
True. So, ma'am, I
People
was,
will come to me
yeah,
for advice.
yeah.
No,
So,
I'm people say how after all years, how do you still stay positive or whatever. Um, you have to be optimistic. The field of work that all of you have chosen, in this whatever, however it is connected, media, showbiz, yeah, that in that field of work, you have to be optimistic, because if you're pessimistic, it will bring you down. No matter what, it will bring you down, because there's competition, there's insecure, the insecure business of it all. You don't know whether money is going to come in, you don't know, but stick at it, really, you should, as far as you can, stick at it. and explain to your family. They are the closest to you. You should explain to your family. I remember, when I came back in 1997, Harsh, I was getting a divorce at 27,
Oh,
and
okay.
came back here, and all I told my parents was that I promise you one thing: without stepping on anybody's toes, without taking any favors from anybody, somewhere I will get. I don't know how far, how high, but I've not compromised on my values, on my ideals. May have been somewhere else in Bollywood if that was the case.
True,
But
true.
I'm happy where I am, and that's what bottom line. Gratitude for where you are right now.
Amazing, ma'am. Amazing. So, ma'am, I was really fortunate enough to share stage with you and relive the Dil Chata Hai moment during Met Utsav. We both were singing. So, ma'am, I know you're a fantastic singer. I saw your Instagram
Do
stories
you think
yesterday,
today
and oh
I
my
feel,
God, yeah.
yeah, 19 years or something? That's what somebody just messaged that to me on Instagram. So I was like, wow, so many years it's been. But that's one movie I was so happy to be part of, because it changed the face of the way film and work in the industry is happening. It really has. It's the first time call sheets were used on set. It's the first time, that when they said they would finish, they finished at that point. You wouldn't be made to wait on the set. You'd do your work, you'd go home, that kind of thing. And it was a brilliant lot of people to work with. Yeah.
Ma'am, if you can sing two lines of any of your favorite song.
Okay. The same song that we the same song that we sang that day.
Hmm.
Koi Kahe.
Yeah,
From
yeah,
Dil
sure.
Chata Hai, you want the song?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'll sing Koi Kahe Ho Niya. That's what I remember. There are Tanhai is also a beautiful song, but this one is more fun.
Yeah.
कोई कहे कहता रहे इतना भी हमको दीवाना ए कोई कहे कहता रहे कितना भी हमको दीवाना ओ हम लोगों की ठोकर में है ये जमाना. This is a good mantra.
Yeah.
ओ जब साज है फिर किस लिए हिचकिचाना हे जब साज है आवाज है फिर किस लिए हिचकिचाना ओ गाएंगे हम अपने दिलों का तराना बिगड़े दुनिया बिगड़ने दी दो
बिगड़ने दी दो,
जड़ेगी दुनिया जड़ने दी
जगने
दो
दी दो,
लड़ेगी दुनिया लड़ने दी
लड़ने
दो
दी दो.
तुम अपनी धुन में गाओ दुनिया रूठने दो टूटने दो टूटने दो ना घबराओ हम है नए अंदाज क्यों हो पुराना. दैट इज द बेस्ट मंत्र ऑफ ऑल यू गाइस. यार तुम लोग हो नए, हम लोग बूढ़े हो गए हैं. आई एम टर्निंग 50 दिस मंथ, बट तुम लोग हैं नए, and that's what we're going to put it all on your shoulders and see where you take this business and where you take the world of media, broadcasting, showbiz. It's all up to you guys now, so you better do your jobs.
True. So now we'll open with student interaction. So students who have any questions, just put it in the comment box so that I can pick up the questions quickly. Okay. So ma'am, there is Tej Thakkar who has questions. So please go on, Tej.
Okay, that Tej.
Hello, ma'am. So I recently
Hi
saw.
there, Tej. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So, ma'am, I recently saw your film Italy and Lakshmi Bomb, and I really loved the
Yes.
concept. And as I am also a student filmmaker, it was like a learning curve for me. The way it was shot and it was
Mm-hmm.
made on such a low
Oh
budget,
yeah,
everything.
all real.
Yeah. So,
Yes, yes, absolutely. It was a kind of a what they call sharing thing as far as money and all was concerned. We said, "Chalo Aditya, just make this movie. Dekh lenge baad mein." That was because all of us believed in it. Yeah.
yeah, so I heard a story about that film that where you were shooting on the road on the highway. So as
Yes.
if people don't
Yes.
know,
On
if people
Pavai.
don't know what the film is about, it's about sex workers. Okay, so your role was Manda,
Yes. Yes.
and I heard that actually a car stopped by
Manda.
and yeah, and actually a car stopped by and
Yeah.
asked about it. Like
we were. I was Yes, Tej. It was like, for me, it was like a pat on the back, frankly speaking. I didn't feel bad about it or anything like that. I said, looks like I'm doing my job correctly. Yeah. If a car can actually, because we were shooting in real locations in Powai on the street and all were night shoots. So, and naturally, all of us, dressed up like, like sex workers and standing there, literally looking for grahaks as they were. And because when they don't know, we're shooting in a way that you can't see the camera and crew and light and all. It was so real. You must know that. You've seen the film. So, and I was standing there against one lamppost or something like that, if I remember correctly. And yeah, one car stopped. And the guys, the assistant directors were trying to say, Arey, nahi, nahi, jao, jao. They're trying to get their attention, saying, jao, jao, jao. But no, they say, ah, kitne ka? And I just burst out laughing in their face. I said, sorry, भैया, आज बिल्कुल नहीं, क्योंकि उधर देखो कैमरा है. So yeah, that was a great experience. That was good fun. But Tej, it was like a compliment for me. It really was. I wasn't shouting at anyone saying, "Arey kya yaar, y'all haven't stopped the traffic and y'all haven't told people." No, I was like, "Look, this is real, absolutely real. So kuch to achhi kar rahi hu."
Also, ma'am, I had another question. So you have worked in
Yeah,
films, TV, OTT, everything. So in films, the censorship is different, and in OTT, the censorship is different. So is
yeah,
there,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So is there a big amount of creative liberty for the artists as well? Like the producers give you a lot of freedom to do in OTT or film. Is there a difference?
There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference whether it's your own, whether it's your own interpretation of a scene or whatever. As far as censorship is concerned, that censorship is not there, only hardly there. In When it comes to OTT platforms, they're showing all sorts of things, on OTT. But that being said, some people may be using it the wrong way and selling stuff only, based on sex and based on, that kind of mindset. But for an actor, especially for an actor like me, if if the role demands something that, I know, just for hypothetical example, if a director were to turn around and say, on a TV serial set, because it's censored, that there is a love scene that is happening on a TV serial set, that they have to be extra careful because they know they can't show anything. But that still does not mean that when given a similar role on an OTT platform, whether it's on a Netflix or whether it's on an Amazon Prime, I would say yes to it just because censorship is not there. That's not the case. You would do it for the sake of whether you really felt you needed to do it or not. And I've stuck with that all my life, and it's been okay. It's worked for me. I may have lost out on a few things, but it's okay, especially as far as censors are concerned. I mean, you'll win some, you lose some. Yeah, that's my mantra. Aega jayega.
Tasha has a next question for you.
Hi, ma'am. My name is Natasha. So, my question for you, I have two questions.
Hi.
Uh, my first question is about your last movie, The Valley, for which you've also gotten the Best Actress Award from the Road International Film Festival as well as
Yes.
the Milan International Film Festival. It is recognized as an indie film because it
Yes.
has all the Indian casts, but it was shot in Silicon
Yes.
Valley. I wanted to ask you about the experience, as a matter of fact, working with the director, the writer, and the producer who are the same film, and how different it was, as a matter of fact, from shooting here
Yeah.
and shooting there.
Well, it's for the first. I mean, first things first. When they say indie film, it's also abroad. It means independent film. Okay. So
Correct.
they call it indie also because it's an independent filmmaker who doesn't have the backing of a 20th Century Fox or a Warner Brothers or whatever. Yeah, it was all her money. She wrote the movie, she directed it. It was her first directorial venture, and she put in the money for it. And it was brilliant working with Saila Kariyat. It was absolutely brilliant. I mean, I tested for it over here with Nandini Shrikant, and there were quite a few actresses in the running for that role. But they say the casting director in Hollywood, when I got there finally after getting the role, when I got there, because I had a 5-page scene for that, which was a very intense scene between me and Ali Khan, and that was
Okay.
like the last scene where the two of us are together. We shot first. Imagine, when I got to California, the first day of shooting was that scene, and it was a 5-page scene. And I'm not boasting. They took only one take of it. And Nandini Shrikant, she said, "That's it. We've got it. We've got it." I didn't fumble. I wanted this role so badly because it was just beautiful. The way she had
It
written
was a
it,
very
as the
strong
mom
role.
of
It
the
was a
girl.
story. Yeah,
Very,
it's a story.
yeah, very, and as she has layers. So, not only is she the guilty mom for not spending enough time with the child, there's no relationship between her and the husband, how she favors the elder daughter compared to the younger daughter. There's all of those layers. So to get into the skin of character like that makes it all the more interesting. Ali Khan, I've known, I mean, when we were shooting that, I'd already known him for about 17, 18 years. So it was great. We had um, no ice to be broken, frankly speaking, as husband and wife in that one. It was very easy. And she had a workshop for 2 days when we got to California with the daughters, with Salma and Agnita. And by the end of those 2 days, we were like a family. Literally like a family. So it kind of moved really smoothly into the shooting. And um, she said she will finish it in 21 days, and she finished the entire movie in 21 days.
Okay.
And for me, why it was, Natasha, it was so important for me, this film, because I'm a mother myself, and I know that these are things that parents in this day and age have to deal with. Whether it's teenage depression, whether it's just getting to know your own child. She's my daughter's 12 years old, but getting to understand the psyche of a young girl was incredibly educational for me as well while doing the movie.
Correct.
Yeah, and it was very emotional for me as well. And after so many years, frankly, babe, it was my first award as best actress. I'd got best negative actress in Calcutta. I'd won award or whatever for my TV serial, but as best actress after over 25 years, 23 years or something, I won best actress, and that too in two festivals for this particular film. So it's very close to my heart, not only for the accolades that it has given me, but because of the core subject of that, and teenage suicide, etc., which everybody needs to see. So it was wonderful shooting there in California. It was really, really brilliant. They're so professional, really, really professional, and everything is on the ball. What she says she will do that many shots, and then you go home, that kind of thing. So it was very, very interesting, wonderful project to be part of. I hope you guys get to see it. Yeah, apparently it's on Amazon, but Amazon America. So, or you can, I don't know, download it from the Amazon America site or buy it from there, that kind of thing. But I hope we opened at Mami here in Bombay at the Mami Festival. We had screenings at the Mami Festival that year, but not many people got to see it, you know. But it's an important film. In this day and age, it's definitely an important film.
I have another question for you. It's a very light-hearted question.
Sure.
I've seen you
Tell me.
from the time I remember Hip Hip Hooray. That's the first show that I remember of yours.
Yes.
And over the years, I've realized a fact that your costumes are very different. So the latest one that I remember is a blouse or your costumes in Kehne Ko Hum Safar Hai, while everybody else had like a proper costume model. Yeah, and then you had like this amazing costume, and I was like, I want to know if she thinks about it, or I don't know. I mean, how does it work with you? I love your style, to be very honest. I'm really like,
No, I leave it a lot to the to the designers who have been chosen. But I have to admit, I don't know. I think you're talking about the green blouse with the crisscross lines at the back. Maybe that one. I
yeah.
don't know if that's.
I'm like, it was just like a jaw
I love.
drop for me. I was like, wow. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
really had this question
But
for you.
when we Yeah. So when you sit and discuss a character, I mean, when you go for your first meeting, they kind of say, this is what we want to make Sheena look like, and this is what we want her to wear. We'll give you saris, but we'll give you saris with a difference. And she'll be wearing a belt, or she'll be wearing all of this oxidized jewelry. And, you can add your bits and pieces. So whether it was the different bindis that I changed, or, and stuck with that throughout all 3 years of the series, whether it is, but I do have a say in that. If I don't like something, I won't, I don't throw any tantrums, but I will explain to the creative director that, hello, how can I be standing at an engagement wearing a chindika kapda? You can't. Yeah, they're not Sheena, who you've dressed her up so much. Yeah, you won't have her wearing something like which looks like it's from the market near the station. Why are you getting me something like this when you've got me such beautiful things before? So in that way, yes, as an artist, I do have a say in my costumes, etc. And there are some directors who turn around and they say, okay, you tell us, what do you think? Like say Tikli and Lakshmi Mom, the costumes of sex workers, yeah.
Correct.
But then it's a way of wearing a sari, or it's a way of totally different from what I wore as Sheena, what I'm standing on the road. The way you wear it, whether you lift it up a little bit, whether it's just little bits and pieces that you do, which comes from you,
Correct.
So that way.
Okay, so just the closing statement. It was lovely, I mean, talking to you. And I must say that you
My
emit
pleasure,
such
Natasha.
powerful and, beautiful energies from every role that I've seen in yours. I've always seen you as this one strong woman.
I
And
can't hear
the
you.
way no? Can you
Thank
guys hear me?
all the nice things you said about me, I didn't hear, yeah. I heard strong woman.
No, I was just saying that, I mean, I love your energy on screen and I hope to see much more. I mean, all the best. That's all that I have to say. Lots of love, of course.
Very much. You will see me next on Bebaki, which is another old Balaji. Yeah, there's another show called Bebaki, Alt Balaji and Z5, which I'm shooting at the moment with Kushal Tandon, Karan Jotwani. That's a very interesting role as well. I've already shot for another series on Netflix, which will be out at the end of the year. Interesting one called Masaba Masaba. So I'm in that. Nobody knows about it. I was not supposed to say, but I'm telling you all. And there's that. There is another. There's Made in Heaven season 2. I don't know when that's going to happen because we were to shoot abroad. It's not happening right now because of COVID. So there's that on Amazon Prime. So yeah, there's lots of stuff coming up. Let's see.
So,
Thank you, Natasha. All the best, huh?
Ma'am, we have Varsha next. Varsha, please ask your question.
Yes.
Yes. Hello, good evening, ma'am. So there is the star culture, as you mentioned in the Bollywood, and also we have the other culture related to it, that is 100 crore club thing in the box office. So, uh, so like
Yes.
the success of a
Yeah.
particular
Yeah.
film is divided to the numbers they earn in the box office. So, do you think with the rise of the OTT and digital platforms as a whole, will decline this culture over the like 2 3 years down the line?
You know, I understand what you're asking, but the sad, well, not really sad, but it is the truth. We have always treated film stars like demigods. We always have, because that was the fantasy world that everybody wants to be part of. It's larger than life. It is not our everyday life. It's what you escape to. So that thing of those stars, that is always going to be there, even though they're going to be the same stars are going to be. I mean, we've seen an Abhishek Bachchan now in Breathe. We're going to see Bobby Deol in Ashram. All of these stars are now understanding themselves that though I'm a star, I need to go to my audience, and for that the OTT platforms are there. So maybe, but I mean, I have to admit, they all still behave like film stars. If they're doing an OTT project as well, it'll take a lot of time, I think, for them to. I don't even know whether they will come down to that level. I won't say come down. It's not. It's derogatory, but I don't know whether they will accept that they are different from, not very different from any other actor who's only done television or only done OTT work, etc. So there is this distinction between, अरे हमारे पास तो film star है, Salman Khan हमारा show करेगा, and this so and so, as opposed
Correct.
to Kushal Tandon हमारा show करेगा, or Karan Jotwani, from the so that. But they're also realizing the importance of OTT platforms now because people are preferring it. Yeah. So if they have a little bit in there, they know that they need to switch for sure, because people, directors, producers, everyone is very happy releasing their films on OTT platforms. They're still making that kind of money with the advertising and everything like that. So 100 crore ka mark and all, it's a different ball game going to a theater and watching a film. I admit, and I hope it comes back to that at some point. But this is here to stay. OTT is definitely here to stay, and people, will appreciate the fact that they can pay their 99 rupees a month and sit and watch so many things compared to going to the theater and spending, 200-300 rupees on a ticket.
Okay, so ma'am, just a question which is linked to the previous question. So, do you think that success of a particular film is decided on the uh, amount of money it earns?
The amount of money it earns for them, for the industry, it's very important for that first weekend. Straight away, that to show people, "Arey, pehle weekend mein 100 crores bana diya." But there are so many movies which people don't really talk about when the
Correct.
international rights are sold, when they are seen on international OTT platforms, when they're sold to a Netflix or an Amazon to to play, how much more money comes into the picture, and how many more people get to see it. Yeah, so it's now not only about that pehle weekend mein itna banaya. It's not going to be that anymore anyway, because there are no theaters. Yeah, it's going to be how many people are watching, and that's what happens with OTT. As I said earlier, everyone has a phone in their hand. Yeah, so now you're
True.
trying to make something different that they just want to switch on their phone and watch your show, watch your movie.
Yes.
So I think that's definitely going to change this thing of making movies, and their budgets, they do realize that they don't have to go making such huge films like they used to before. A nice subject, less also will work just as fine.
Correct. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Good luck,
So
Varsha.
next
Good
is
luck. All good wishes.
Thank you, ma'am.
so next is Nirbhay Kapoor.
Nirbhay.
Hi, ma'am. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hi, ma'am. How are you?
Yes, I can hear you. Didn't I meet you when I came to MET? Were you part of the did I meet you with the organization
Yes,
people
yes,
when I came to
yes,
MET?
ma'am. You did. You did
Or
met me.
you have a very distinctive face. I didn't meet you. There we go. Right,
Okay.
tell me.
Ma'am, just a general question for you. Ma'am, if someone was going to make your life into a movie, so who would play you?
Me. uh, yeah, audible. You're audible. Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
There is a little bit of a lag. That's all. So uh, I would love to play it myself as long as I can look as young as I can look. Otherwise, my daughter. I would love her to play my life story. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. That's it.
She
Thank you,
said it
ma'am.
that way. She loves acting and singing and all of it. Welcome, Nirbhay. Welcome.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So I would so first of all, ma'am, thank you so much for taking out your valuable time for us, and I would request Tej Thakkar to give a vote of thanks to ma'am.
Thank you, Harsh,
Sure.
for this amazing conversation. And of course, Suchitra ma'am, thank you once again for sparing such precious time for us and your journey from the early
Not at all.
90s and to Dil Chahta Hai and to the OTT ventures.
I would love to come back. I'm sorry for butting in. I would love to come back to as you all have noticed in this chat, I can talk a lot. Yeah, I can talk a lot, and I love talking about not talking about myself, but I love talking about the experiences that I've had because it's been an incredible journey, and I would love to come back to MET when we have enough and more time on our hands, and have a discussion with all of you when things clear up with this COVID thing.
Eagerly waiting for that time.
Yeah, we'll be glad to have
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful.
So I was saying that your journey from the early 90s to Dil Chahta Hai and to the recent OTT ventures recently in Betal have been truly inspiring. And I'm sure that the stories and the wisdom in your stories like will really shape up young minds like us. And it's been a pleasure to have you. And on behalf of MET, Team MET, we would extend our heartful gratitude and all the very best for all your future endeavors.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm humbled. Thank you very much for having me on this platform. I'm so glad that I could share some stuff with you. And I'm very happy that you talked about Betal at the end. I'll tell you why. It's really strange because every time I've done an interview or something and we talked about Betal, the bloody internet goes off. Yeah, something happens at the end and some internet problem happens. So Betal is always sitting on my shoulder, I think, still after the project. And you make things go wrong. So I'm glad we talked about Betal at the end. But yeah, I was scary in that one. I'm sure. I'm sure all of you got scared when you saw me.
Yeah.
But I'm not like that, huh? दिखने में ऐसी नहीं है.
Yeah, I'm sure about that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks a lot for all
Thank
your
you, Tej.
valuable time and all
Thank
the
you.
insights.
So glad I got to hang out with you guys. I have lots more stories to tell, so I'll definitely be back to MET. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am.